Starting a side business can sound daunting. You might think it's impossible, alongside your day job, that you don't have what it takes, or that you simply are just not entrepreneurial. But after speaking with some of the most successful entrepreneurs and turning my side business into a 7-figure full-time business, I've learned that getting started is simply a matter of following a step-by-step framework. And by following this framework, turning a side business dream into a reality becomes a lot more manageable. If you're new here, I'm Jason. I'm an entrepreneur, a real estate investor, and in this video, we're going to talk about the framework to start a side business while working a 9-to-5. But before we get into it, let's talk about the call for more. This is a real thing. I talk to people or come across people so often who have got their dream job, one that they thought they've always wanted, but once they've got there, they feel like something's missing. It's like they've climbed the mountain only to find that the view isn't quite what they expected. They start craving more and more fulfillment, more freedom to make decisions, more chances to really utilize their talents and passions. 5 years ago, I was in exactly the same boat. Even with a dream paycheck and a stable career, there was a snagging feeling that there's something more out there. But at the same time, quitting your day job to pursue this call for more can feel very risky, especially if you have the financial obligations or you have a family to support. That's where starting a side business alongside your main job can be the perfect compromise. It's a way to explore new ideas, new passions, and potential income streams without immediately giving up the security of your full-time employment. So if you're in this place and you have this urge to explore something new, but you are unsure where to start and you're not quite ready to dive into full-time entrepreneurship without having a plan in place, then this is a 3-step framework that I used and others I know used. Step 1. Find the intersection. You want to understand what your interests are, your personality, your expertise, and you want to combine that with what you think there may be a genuine market for. So one powerful framework for doing this that has always helped me is the Golden Circle concept. This is a book from Simon Sinek called Start with Why. Let me break it down for you. The Golden Circle consists of 3 elements: what, how, and why. Let's go through these in order. The what of your side business is the specific product or the service you plan to offer, the thing that the market wants. Then you have the how. This is the unique approach, the skills, the process that you will use to deliver value. Then you have the why. This is arguably the most important element. It's the articulation of who we are, the deeper purpose, the passion, the interest, or the causes that drive you to pursue the specific side business. So when you find something in the intersection of these 3, that's when you have a side business. That has the potential to really take off. While doing something purely for the love of it is great, the goal with a side business is to make sure it's financially viable too. So think about it. Can I realistically turn this interest or passion of mine into a service or product that people will pay for? Is there proof of concept? Are there other people already making money from this thing in a different way? The key here is not just to come up with one idea, but a list of ideas that you could potentially try out. It's almost guaranteed that the first side business that you try may not be successful, because the beauty of starting a side hustle while also having a full-time job is that you can take a lot more risks. You could try out more things, and you can get a lot of the growing pains out of the way while also having a stable paycheck coming in. You can afford to make some early mistakes and learn from them without as much risk. Things which I do, especially if this is my first business, is try to avoid my self-interest and find ways to be of service, and even offer my services for free, because that would be a really good indicator as to whether or not there's demand for this idea. Because if people aren't signing up or willing to use your product for free, then it's going to be pretty hard to then get people to pay for it, right? So there's 3 ways to best do this, in my opinion. You can use the done for you approach, the done with you approach, or the do it yourself approach. Let me break this down for you to understand. The done-for-you approach is all about offering to directly do the thing that you were skilled at for someone else. It's a one-to-one service model. So for example, if you have a technical skill or say a graphic designing, you can start a side business creating custom branded websites or making marketing materials for clients. So you can reach out to industry leaders in your niche, reach out to them, offer your services for free initially. And if you do great work for them and they like it, then that could lead into a paid opportunity. This is how I found most of the freelancing people that I work with. Someone would approach me via email, provide a free sample of their product or service using my work, and then it's then converted me into a paying customer. The pros of this approach is that it's pretty easy to start and it's low cost, but it can generate income from your expertise from day one without having to build a large audience or a product first, and it's a more direct path to monetizing your skills. The downside, however, with this done-for-you approach is that it still needs to trade your time for money unless you're hiring people to do it for you. Learning the good skills in the first place takes time and it doesn't scale easily. Then you have the done with you approach, and this involves more of a consulting, coaching, or teaching role. So instead of doing the work for the client, you're guiding them and helping them do it themselves. So say you're helping people with their financial planning. You wouldn't just go to the market and tell people to buy your workshop or pay for your service. Instead, you may offer something for free, a free webinar, or you'll give a talk at an event which has the customers that you're looking for, or a free lead magnet. And because it's free, people are more likely to sign up for it that way. This allows you to know who's interested in your product. You validated your idea and you know that there's demand for it. And once you've tested the demand for your offerings and proven that your product or your service has value, then you can look to scale through strategies like paid ads, influencers, or partnerships. So partnering with other creators, hiring them, and leveraging your professional and personal network to spread the word even further. So the pros of this model is that it allows you to leverage your knowledge and skills to help people in a more hands-on way. And it's often more scalable than the done-for-you approach. Since you're not trading your one-to-one time for money, instead it's one-to-many. The downside, however, is that there's a lot of competition. There needs to be constant evergreen marketing out there, and it does require building some level of authority first. Plus, once again, your time isn't infinite, so there's a cap to how much you can make. Finally, you have the do-it-yourself approach, and this is all about creating products and content that allow you to share your expertise with the world in a more passive way. So this can mean starting a YouTube channel where you teach your skills, or writing and self-publishing ebooks, or building an online library of templates and tools. The advantage of this model is that once you put in the initial effort to create these assets, they can continue generating revenue for you without requiring your constant time and attention. You can scale it well. It can work without your physical presence. It works really well if you build your audience around your business, and it buys back your time. The downside, however, with this approach is that it needs a really big initial investment of time and energy. People aren't willing to do this. The approach that will likely take the longest to start making money from. In contrast, the first two approaches, the done for you and the done with you approach, these methods still require trading your time for money, but you can make money from them faster than you can in the do-it-yourself approach. Then this leads us to step number 3 of the framework. This wouldn't be a finance video if we didn't talk about how to manage your finances around the side hustle. So relatively early in your journey, you want to ask yourself the important money questions like, is this something you want to eventually pursue full-time? And if so, how much money do you need to make from it to be comfortable with that transition? So when planning your side business income trajectory, do a deep dive into what your fixed monthly expenses are. Things like your rent or your mortgage bill, your loan payments, all of that. Once you know the minimum amount that you need to cover for those essential costs, then you know how much income you need to generate from your side business to at least match the baseline. You can play it super safe and tell yourself that you won't pursue a side business full time until that side income is covering 100% or more of those fixed expenses. This will give you the confidence and the financial runway to really focus on growing the business and having something to aim for. Another question you want to ask yourself is how much can you realistically afford to invest into this new venture without jeopardizing your financial stability and other life goals. And this is why starting a side business and doing it part-time I think is really important, because you can afford to make mistakes along the way, because you will make mistakes along the way. You will lose money, but you will have an income coming in to compensate for it. So another step I took was to calculate my discretionary income and identify areas where I could cut back to invest more into making this business work. Just these really simple calculations will give you the financial confidence and the backing you need to really pursue a new business properly. It really gives you the clarity on what you have to work with and what you need to aim for, because without that, you kind of lose direction and where you're going. There's numerous free apps you can use to track things and make these calculations with your savings and investments and your fund costs. Fund costs is a category of spending that you really want to analyze and see how you can reallocate that spending towards your side business. So that's the 3-step framework I use to approach starting a side business alongside a full-time career. I'm here to help you learn, grow, and become the best version of yourself. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you like this, I'll check you on the next one.